I'm doing really well. So it's kind of a mix of essentially, for those who don't know, I broke my neck, but I broke it at C1, which is a big deal. And at C6, C6 they're not as worried about. That's looking good. But the issue is right now, so my C1 is not ossifying, which means it's not turning into bone. But I can live my life pretty normally. But it's just kind of, it's not in a position where I should be ramming my head, against other things and movable objects right now. So wrestling doesn't make sense right now. So I have to wait for that to ossify, to form bone, and to heal. But man, I feel great. I don't have any nerve issues, don't have any weakness, don't have any atrophy. And I got really lucky because it could have been really could have been a lot worse for me.
Yeah, I know the plan is, and correct me if I'm wrong here, to just keep checking this thing every couple of months. What is the prognosis? Do you think you're going to be able to get back in there and wrestle? Does it look like that's a long shot at this point? And most importantly, obviously, it sounds like you're going to have a great life regardless. But do you think you're going to be able to get back in that ring?
Yeah, so it seems like it's one of those wait and see things. It's one of those things where, initially when I talked to Dr. Maroon, who's been great, really great in Pittsburgh, and he suggested, hey, let's look at this thing in a year. And that's after looking at my last set of scans. So I really can't say. I don't know whether I'll be back in March and 100%, or if they'll look at it and say, hey, maybe you should be doing something else with your life. So for me right now, March of next year is very far off, so I don't want to spend a lot of time worrying or stressing about that. I'm just kind of living my life, and that's another thing too, man. I've been with this company for 13 years. That means a lot of Saturdays and Sundays in Poughkeepsie and Kalamazoo and most random towns. But now I get to live my life a little bit and see some friends, and I'm enjoying just being a human.
Is it fair to say that you would be content? Some things are just not up to us, and medical issues happen, and obviously you got to make sure you stay safe. Would you be okay? Would you be content if you were never able to get in there again, at least as a wrestler?
Yeah, I think so. Because I just honestly, my philosophy as a human being is learning to be content with whatever life brings you. I'm so grateful to not be in a wheelchair, but if I was, I would have to adjust to life in a wheelchair. That's just how I'm programmed, because if I spend hours or days or weeks kind of mourning where I'm at in life and life not being what I want it to be, that doesn't serve me. Again, it's like that old premise of drinking poison and expecting your enemy to die. It doesn't make sense. So worrying about it, stressing about it only hurts me. It's not useful. I think I'll be at peace with whatever happens. Whether I can wrestle again, I'll be at peace with that. If I can't wrestle again, so be it. I'm like, my limbs work. I get to do this. Right. And it's like I very easily could have been very different for me. And there's a lot of life to live regardless. I'm excited about it. Triple H actually called me a few days ago and said, hey, is this something you might be interested in? There was no pressure at all. And I jumped at the chance. One, because I'm tired of being in the house every day. It's a little annoying. But also, man, I want to preface this by saying so many of my favorite wrestlers are men and women who spent time on the independent scene. But this tryout is just for college athletes, former college athletes. And I connect with that because I was 23 years old, a failed former college football player. Mojo, you got further than I did, but you know what it's like. My point is, you know what it's like to be done with your dream. Like, I love football, and it was done. And then as an athlete, I'm 23 years old. I was in grad school at the time. I'm trying to figure out my life. But now, man, you invest so much of your life into your sport, and it's just done. And I know for so many of us, it's now what do I do with my life? I've worked so hard. I've invested so much in my body and being an athlete. And I connect so deeply with so many of the young men and women who will be in the same position. And I'm excited to, I don't have the best wrestling mind in the world, and I'm grateful for the Norman Smileys who will be there, and for the NXT staff, and for Triple H, and so many people who do this for a living and have a great eye for evaluating talent. I'm just there to really lend my experience. The cool thing is it's great to hear from the OGs of the game who've been around forever, but also it's kind of cool to hear from someone who has been in a similar position, who has been, 22, 23, and their sport is over, and now they're trying to pivot, and they're trying to see like, hey, can I be great at this WWE thing? Can I give it my all? So that excites me because I just so resonate with that perspective. And the beautiful thing is, man, WWE changed my life. I've been with the company now for 13 years, and I'm financially comfortable. I've been able to travel the world many times over. I've met some of the most incredible people on planet Earth because of this. This opportunity has completely changed my life. And my hope is that at that tryout, we can find a bunch more future Biancas and Montez Fords and so many of those athletes. And I know for a lot of the hardcore fans, I know they really want the independent wrestlers, and I have such a huge soft spot in my heart for them as well.
What's that one thing you're looking for? If somebody attending this tryout is watching our interview right now, what's that one piece of advice that will appeal to you and maybe get your vote of confidence that you say to Triple H, hey, I like he or she?
I think it's be open to just being silly, man. I tried some weird stuff. I think I cut my first wrestling character idea was for a wrestling mailman. It's a horrible idea. His name was gonna be Mel, M-E-L, last name M-A-N-N. I thought it was great. I showed up the first day and they almost laughed me out the building. But I think the beautiful thing is you have to be open to trying some things that are unpredictable, that are different, man. We have guys who are big and strong and aggressive, but I want to see personalities. I want to see people who are open to trying different things, who are open to making a fool of themselves, who are open to just trying to be that larger than life personality. And you're not going to nail it right out the gate. You're not going to have that perfect $1 million promo on day one. But I want to see people who are willing to try things, who are willing to step outside of themselves, who are willing to be those characters.